children.org today. Together, we can help end poverty for good.
Okay, quick question. What do UFOs, breathwork, and psychedelics have in common? Find out at the Midwest first of its kind consciousness experience, the Contact Modalities Expo, back for year 2, May 1st through 3rd in Wisconsin. This is not a lecture, it's an experience. 4 stages, all happening at once, world-class experts, hands-on, mind-expanding sessions all weekend long. Hosted by Jimmy Church, UFO Skywatches with Chris Bledsoe, telepathy, quantum hypnosis, ancient mysteries, try telekinesis, use dowsing rods, experience the God helmet, even a live seance. But there is so much more. Curious? Perfect. Already deep in it? Even better. Go beyond the limits of what you thought was possible. The Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through 3rd. Get the details now at contactmodalitiesxpo.com. Greg Bakken here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 39, then Wednesday, a chance of rain and a high of 61. Get your exquisite, elegant box of French macarons from Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Nicolette's is conveniently located off Highway 169 and 36th Avenue. Stop in at the store or order your box online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakken. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. We haven't talked about this in a while, well, at least with having a guest on. You may have listened to me talk on programs before about my adventures in Gettysburg and talking about what happened the night being at Air Ridge, talking about being at the battlefields in the middle of the night. As you know, I'm no expert on this by any stretch of the imagination, but the Civil War is something I am extraordinarily interested in, but even more so the ghost of Civil Wars. There's somebody who I've known for a while now who is absolutely incredible, quite frankly, an expert in Civil War antiquities, a keen collector. And up until fairly recently had one of the coolest paranormal locations around out in Virginia. And he is known for doing a wonderful event around the country this kind of moves around the country a little bit, called Dinner with a Ghost. And he also is well known for nearly killing us at the battlefields during the day at Gettysburg, which we don't talk about a whole lot either. I am very happy to have John B. Cushman join me tonight. John, how are you doing?
Good, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. My goodness. We never talk about the fact that you and that damn white van of yours near or whatever it was. I don't even remember. It's just a white blur coming at us.
It was actually a Tahoe, and you guys were walking around the wheat field.
Yeah, we were walking around the wheat field
And
because
good
we
thing
thought
my
we
brakes
could.
were working.
I mean, and I think what it was is you come at us and you're honking your horn like a
Yeah.
crazy person.
Well, yeah. And
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you
that's
turned
me.
around. I don't think a ghost would have been driving and honking its horn. You had to know somehow it was me.
No, we didn't have to know somehow it was you. We just knew that it was some deranged in a human being that was going to take us down. Now, if I recall correctly, though, that time I didn't flinch, but of course you had to do it a second time, like at a gas station or something, and I flinched that time. One of the two, I only flinched once, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
you didn't really flinch at the wheat field too much. There was too much disgust in your face.
Well, that's just normal operating procedure for me. So
That's right.
that's
right.
But you
I wanted to keep
Yeah.
the excitement going.
like what if the battles happened during modern day with white Tahoes and it was something, that's for sure. So here's the deal. First of all, one of the things you had mentioned, and I know that I'm kind of continuing a conversation that was happening off air. You had talked about hearing like a cannonball because your friend at the battlefield heard a cannonball. But did I ever tell you at Air Ridge I heard a cannonball? We all heard it in a room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, you were standing in front of me when you mentioned it.
Oh, so I said it to you, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, we were down near the bar when you were talking about it.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you knew because it was really cool.
Oh yeah, amongst other things there.
Amongst other things there. Do you also remember that by the time we were done, the room that I was doing everything in was the most packed room of the event? Do you remember that bit as well?
Yes.
Okay, good. As long as you remember the important things about that
yeah,
night.
you were.
Okay,
You were.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the teams were biggest, and bigger than biggest.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were in a crowded room.
Yeah, no, it was standing room only. So, but all joking aside, here's the thing, right? I've had you on before. We talked about Civil War ghosts and stuff, but I never, that was before I was out there, and you invited me out there for dinner with a ghost, which we'll get to in a bit of talking about what that is. But since being out there, it really formulates kind of what you're talking about, and especially when you're talking about different parts of the battlefield, the movie field stuff. It's really interesting to kind of put all that together. And I have to say, John, quite frankly, going out there that weekend was just there, let alone afterwards. We went out to Virginia. That was life changing for me, quite honestly.
Well, it left a indelible mark. How do you not, first of all, remember Gettysburg?
Right.
There's, you got to pick. You saw the size of the town.
Yep.
They weren't supposed to fight there.
Mm-hmm.
Circumstances happened, and guess what?
They did.
They fought there.
Yeah.
For 3 days. 3 days. 58,000 men killed in 3 days. Hello?
Yeah. Amazing. Horrible.
1,900 horses. It wasn't a quiet war or battle, put it that way.
Yeah.
When it takes 2 years to clean it up, that is incredible. In fact, the 3 days, 58,000 was more than any war we've been involved in. Vietnam, World War II, one. When your biggest battle happens in a day, starts off in a day and ends up 3 days.
Yep.
And it leaves that much.
Leading into the birthday of the country too.
Yes.
And crazy.
Now we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back there Memorial Weekend. Why not? And it's to a place you haven't been to.
No.
It's the Gettysburg Academy, Greg. It's just, we've done that probably 8 times now, and it's just different every time. Different.
Very haunted.
It has its own, it's not on Main Street or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's in a bit but it has history. Same family has owned it since the 1800s. Scott is, great, probably 10 more greats on top of that, grandson that owns it now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taking care of the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I asked him several years ago if we could come in and do dinner with a ghost. He was, yes, please. And the stuff that we got there, the people like you that have come there, and the other people that we have dealt with that have come there, they don't leave saying we didn't see anything.
No.
Same with Hair Ridge. Hair Ridge was the same.
Yeah.
To hold it down in the wine cellar, first of all.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And did I take you into the walls? You go into the room that we cooked in,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a banquet room there.
Yeah.
And I pulled out the fireplace. Did I do that for you?
I don't think so, because I think you all were busy getting everything together, the meals and stuff.
It's on a hinge,
mm-hmm.
and that's where the slaves were hidden for the railroad,
the Underground Railroad.
Underground Railroad. Yes.
Oh wow. Now, can you walk through, because we're talking about Dinner with a Ghost, but I don't think not everyone knows what it is, and I think it's one of the most unique concepts and a very respectful concept for spirits as well. Do you want to walk through that, please?
Absolutely. Dinner with a Ghost. We were doing investigations like everybody else.
Yeah.
And at that time, we were doing Goldfield, Nevada.
Oh yeah, I love
Goldfield, Nevada, from my house in Vegas was 3 hours.
Yep.
To get to it. It was our nation's largest gold strike.
Mm-hmm.
In 1905, but it's been around a long time before that. But if you can believe this, 50,000 people living there, hunting for gold, doing their thing, mining, whatever. In that period of time, there was no Las Vegas, there was no Reno, none of that stuff, and this was in central Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
We did the high school, and believe it or not, we've done the hotel, Goldfield Hotel, many times.
God, I love that place.
Oh, please. You haven't been there, have you?
Yeah, I have.
Oh. I thought I was preaching to the choir.
Well, see, here's the thing. I love it from what I've heard about it, but we drove through, because that highway that goes up from Vegas, going up, it goes through Goldfield, eventually goes to wherever the Clown Hotel and the Mitzpah is. I mean, it just seems like this thing. And also you can turn off the Area 51 as well. But so I wasn't able to get in. I stood outside and I held it. I hugged like a column. So to be fair, John, I did not go in, and I want to go in.
Oh man, it's just stunning. A man by the name of Red, we'll call him Red because that's his name. Richest man in Nevada, wanted to buy his wife birthday present.
Mm-hmm.
And she loved that hotel and was up for auction for tax, selling for tax.
Yeah.
And he bid $283 on it. Not one man to fool around, and he got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the sad part about it was, if there's a sad part, his wife died the next day.
Oh my goodness.
So he didn't know what to do with it. So it's been closed all those years.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to know the caretaker, and she let us in. She lived behind there, and every time, I wanted to come up, we give her a call. We went in.
Mm-hmm.
But that place, Greg, I wish, I could have taken you to that place. Don't get me wrong. The schoolhouse was incredible too.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
that's where we did Dinner with a Ghost, in that location. But Dinner with a Ghost, you know, let's see, 2005, I believe it was. Um, I was raising money to help these ghost towns and, this type of thing, to save them.
Yeah. Yeah.
At one time, like I said, Goldfield had 50,000 people living there. Has 200 right now.
Yeah. It does.
And so we started doing funding to save the school, for starters, and went from there. It was an incredible thing, and it helped me start Dinner with a Ghost, because when you're this far from Vegas, 3 hours, and 5 hours to Reno, who's going to come?
Right.
And that was my basis for creating an event that they will come for.
And
Dinner with a Ghost.
And what happens at the event?
Well, first of all, they came, by the way.
Yeah, I bet they did.
At the event, I laughed about this when we started doing it. We got into the school,
Mm-hmm.
and we investigated it, first of all, and there were a lot of things going on. A lot of things. We had trigger objects, stuff that we put all over the building, and I used to laugh at, we walked in the doors and started talking this language, doing a dinner, and I'm sure the ghosts looked at us, or the spirits looked at us and said, you know what? They're talking to us, and oh my God, they're making dinner for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, Greg, it took off. When I say we put trigger objects in there, the newel post on the grand staircase, I used to put a pool ball, meaning a pool table ball, balanced on the top of there. Because when it fell off there and you heard it come down the staircase, there were a lot of things that happened there. We were doing a New Year's party there. No Dinner with a Ghost, but we were doing an event there. And when it came time to take the people around, Justin and I are coming up the staircase to, make sure everything was okay upstairs. And I turned to my side, and somebody said to me, hey, what you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Just like that. Hey, what you doing? You heard it? Justin heard it. It's just the things you don't know about. When I spend a place like the mansion, I've been there 8 years doing Dinner with a Ghost.
Yeah.
Ghosts, they have to be able to trust you. And after 8 years, I knew the players and they knew me.
Yeah.
And Deb is let's say, a professional, let me get the words right. She figures out your genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting around one day, and I said, why don't you look up and see if the Reverend is on here? She did that, and all of a sudden she got quiet. It's my third cousin, 12 times removed.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen, Greg?
I don't.
So I stopped calling him the Reverend. I called him Cuz. But you know what?
Yeah.
He was at dinner every time, because we have the table for the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's there all the time. He got actively involved. The first dinner we had done there, we went through the courses of the meal. We did the soup, then went to the salad, and salad was delivered to that table. And he got upset. He go, you could hear him talking, because, we have the Ovilus running. We have all the stuff, monitors running. And it basically came out, salad is for horses.
That's funny.
He was telling us that meat and potatoes They don't eat salad.
Mhm.
So I went back and told Deb about it. And she says, we'll stop serving. And by the time I got back out front, I went back again and said, don't stop serving. He got so upset that I hate to say it, but we pulled tricks on him before. As you know, I host it. I stood near his table. I said, you know what? If you don't eat your salad, you're not getting dessert. That didn't go over well.
Mm.
And one time we hid his bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't talk at all.
Well,
And when the bourbon was brought out, poured him a glass on his table, and all of a sudden he was Mr. Gabby.
so can I
know?
Can I interject real fast? 'Cause I need to get a break in here, but I also want to say, folks, that just so you know what this event is, you go to the event at one of these locations, and there are these tables that are set up, generally these massive tables set up like as a U, and it's a beautiful table arrangement, gourmet food. People come and they eat, but at the very front of the table is an empty seat, or it's not going to be empty because that's meant for spirit, and spirit gets served. And then John has an ovilus with a camera on it and a screen so everyone can see what's being said on the ovilus. And very often when I was there, especially at the Octagon Mansion, which John used to run, it would say Reverend.
Right.
Now, John, let me get a break in here real fast because I want to make sure that we get more of you in. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about Dinner with a Ghost, as well as other Civil War stuff. And we have a question in the comments. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Okay, quick question. What do UFOs, breathwork, and psychedelics have in common? Find out at the Midwest first of its kind consciousness experience, the Contact Modalities Expo, back for year 2, May 1st through 3rd in Wisconsin. This is not a lecture, it's an experience. 4 stages, all happening at once, world-class experts, hands-on, mind-expanding sessions all weekend long. Hosted by Jimmy Church, UFO Skywatches with Chris Bledsoe, telepathy, quantum hypnosis, ancient mysteries, try telekinesis, use dowsing rods, experience the God helmet, even a live seance. But there is so much more. Curious? Perfect. Already deep in it? Even better. Go beyond the limits of what you thought was possible. The Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through 3rd. Get the details now at contactmodalitiesxpo.com. Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakken here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Greg Bakken here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursions to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. My Minnesota friends, are you in the mood for an investigation? Well, we're getting to that time every month, the second Thursday of every month, that we do the public paranormal investigation of Divine Lights in Anoka, Minnesota. We last month we went into the basement, then we went upstairs, and we had, oh my goodness, we had quite the experience. And when I say that, no, nothing scary. It's just great paranormal spirit communication. We broke up into different groups. We tried different things. We had a really good time. And that's going to be happening this Thursday, which would be, April 9th. And that starts at 6 p.m. And we'd like to invite you to come out there with us. And we're going to have some equipment to use. We're going to have our friend Johnny Vortex out this weekend, or this Thursday, because he builds all sorts of fun equipment. We're going to see what he's going to bring. Maybe we can see how well it works at Divine Lights. It's going to be a great time. And I know a lot of you are always like, oh, I'd love to do an investigation. This is where to do it. Anoka's where to go for it. So once again, Divine Lights, we're doing a live public paranormal investigation. You're invited to take part in 6 to 9 p.m. Go to charvinity.com, charvinity.com, and click events and classes, and you can sign up for there. A lot of fun. I am very happy, and he's staying awake. He's staying awake because it's late on the East Coast. We have John B. Cushman with us tonight, and we are talking about Dinner with a Ghost. We're talking about everything else. John, you still with us?
I am still here, ready to talk.
I just want to, sounded like you're snoring over there, so I just want to make sure I didn't lull you to sleep with my dulcet tones. So
no, I know you enough
that I wouldn't be.
Kind of angers me
that you know me. Well, I wanted to get to the point of Dinner with a Ghost. It's only an hour show, John. I don't have all night. I mean, it's just
I'm beginning to sound like a radio announcer. Anyway, so let me get your brass tacks on Dinner with a Ghost.
Yes,
Dinner with a Ghost. I needed a way to raise funding. Doing investigations, one thing, but having a way to bring the people. I don't care if it's Goldfield or Gettysburg.
Yeah.
It's a way with today's marketing to give something different out there. So I created Dinner with a Ghost, trademarked it, by the way.
Yeah.
So nobody else could use it. And started to figure out, okay, how many people do I sit? I figured my minimum is 25 because you had to make enough money to leave money, and pay for your expenses. So here's the thing. I'll give you an example of Gettysburg. You saw Gettysburg. I believe that was 25, and the room was crowded. It wasn't exactly a real wide room.
Yeah.
But with doing 25, I could fit everything in there. Deb, who's basically a gourmet chef, prepared in a room next door.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need any kind of equipment. We don't need anything from anybody. We carry everything: tables, chairs, linens, the cooking utilities, everything, silverware, you name it, glassware. We carry it all because I don't want an excuse that wait a minute, we're going into this home in Gettysburg and there is no power.
Yeah.
Don't need it. In fact, we, in Arizona, we did, the Globe Jail, and, it did not have power. We were outside on the yard, and it isn't a problem.
No.
So that was one of the things I wanted to make sure we did.
Yeah.
And with Dinner with a Ghost, you had to figure out a system. What are you going to start with? How long is dinner going to be? And where's the investigation start? Well, the investigation starts the second you sit down at the table.
Yeah.
That's 2 hours of listening to this guy talk. My talk is going to the investigation now. You want to hear things, you want to do things, you want to experience. You talked about the table. Table is very, very historic. Has, pictures of, the Civil War, flags, you name it. It's on that table. You don't want people coming into, a table that just, has napkins on it and 3 pieces of silverware.
Right.
You have to make it incredible.
Mhm.
This table's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And when I pull up to a place and people see me pull all this stuff out and set up this table, they're wondering, in this trailer, how did you get it all in there? But Dinner with the Ghost doing 25, we've done up to 50.
Yeah.
50. And there's Deb and myself and 2 to 3 other people that pull this off. So you're in, let's say, 7 to 9 is dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, the building is the people's. You go out in the building with, different hosts to help you guide through this building. And you're an active participant now.
Yep.
We give you the equipment, everything. You ask the questions. We can ask the questions, but what kind of experience you're going to have? I tell people when they come in and they sit down at the table and we talked about the schedule for the night. And when it came to the, asking questions, don't ask what I thought of Ronald Reagan or the ghosts. You got to get into the history and into the year.
Yeah.
What a better, I hate to say this, what a better place to investigate at the table or in the building itself, discussing that town.
Oh, yeah.
Discussing the history, that type of thing. When they come to a town like that and what happened there, you got ghosts, you got spirits, every place has history. And that's what I was kind of pushing for. You walk into the building, register, you're giving champagne.
Mm-hmm.
I come out and I discuss what's going to happen for the night. Everybody is sat and away we go.
Yeah.
Dinner. It's 4 courses, salad, soup. And I don't care if you don't like salad, you're getting a salad. Salad, soup. The main course is not something small, London broil.
Yeah.
Roasted potatoes. Air Corvair green beans. And dessert is different all the time.
Yeah.
It's exquisite. Trust me, if you don't see ghosts after you eat that dessert, you're going to see ghosts. You're served wine.
Yep.
Water. It's an experience, and people should experience it. Deb and I have done, and I've done before Deb. I'm up to 1,000 locations already doing this.
Yeah.
All over the nation. Not Minnesota though.
No.
Yet.
What's going on?
But there's history everywhere. If you're going to be an investigator, and that's why I counted on with a lot of these people. If they're not, they're interested to hear it and learn. A lot of the older people want to know what's where are they going after this.
Yeah, no,
after
absolutely.
This world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I just say real fast? I worked.
Yep.
I think I worked 3 or 4 Dinner with the Ghosts with you, and I just want to say the food is truly really gourmet and very good. Now, if you work it though, you only get the scraps. You don't get the full meal. I just want people to know that part of it. Yeah, just being. It's fine. I'm not complaining. I'm just giving.
Sounds like a complaint.
It does sound like it is a complaint. It is a complaint. But I mean,
who was hitting all that wine in the back?
Well, hey! There's no need for that.
Yeah.
But can I also say that the tables, once again, help me remember. Don't you also have some devices on the tables where so if like there's someone sitting there and like a K2 goes off next to them? They're just kind of like, ooh, look at that.
We had miniature movement monitors,
Yeah.
pretty much up and down the table. So if somebody is there and there's movement on the table, that light goes off. Every space basically had a K2, because better to give them the K2 when they go out and investigate. They just grab it off the table when they're ready to go.
Yeah.
As far as any other equipment, we've put on another Ovilus on that table in a corner. It depends on the place, but yes, there is equipment on the table, monitors.
Yeah.
It keeps you looking. It's not meant to confuse. It's meant for you to be an active part of this. I started off by, now you're going to be an active participant. I'm going to go around the room if I have to and ask for a question.
Yeah.
It was funny. One guy had asked me about Freddy Krueger. I said, I don't think Reverend knows him. Just things like that.
Yeah.
But Greg, it's gone a long way. The setup, remind me when we get together, I'll send you a picture of the original table. It's gone from that to a kingdom. Did I send you the new picture?
I don't know if I got I don't know if I got the new picture. I just remember what I saw. And folks, when he shows up with his crew, there are people who don't move as much stuff into their new house as what John moves in for a night for dinner with a ghost. I know I'm sounding like I'm making fun of it. It's absolutely staggering and fascinating to see, and it's beautiful. And I just want to quickly say, I want to say a couple things. First of all, the respect of spirit, having a place set for them is incredible. But I also want to say that just a little bit of clarification. Reverend that John keeps talking about originated that over maybe not originating, but it was always over at the Octagon Museum, a mansion. But the thing is that then the Reverend would follow you all around because he was in at Air Ridge as well.
It's that's been questioned. The Reverend built the mansion.
Okay.
The church was across the street, very convenient, but it was his home. I never said to him, well, this is my home. When we walked into there, we added all the Civil War stuff. He was in the Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
Reverend in the Civil War. Put familiar faces on the wall. And it triggered it. And I tell the people that come, use the triggers on the walls. Did you know Robert E. Lee? Or Ulysses S. Grant, of course, being a Virginian, you knew Robert E. Lee, being his home state. So that type of thing, but dinner with a ghost. And when things happen, oh my God, people go wild. They go wild. If something's thrown to get your attention, it's not thrown because they're pissed off at you.
No.
They're just trying to, button here, a button there. They're trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
And when you go investigating, same thing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it is truly wonderful. Now, for people that want to find out more, because a lot of people travel around and stuff, and they might be able, especially with the next Dinner with the Ghost in Gettysburg is going to be Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd, right?
Yes.
How could people go and look up what you're up to on
simple?
Yes.
Simple. Facebook.
Yeah.
Dinner with a Ghost.
Dinner with a Ghost.
It doesn't get any simpler. Schedules are on there. We have another one scheduled also in Pennsylvania, Greg. And got this by accident from another group, Courtney and Sean. They said, John, would you like to do another one in Pennsylvania? And it's in Bellwood, Pennsylvania, in case anybody's interested in that. It's the old former Trinity Methodist Church, United Methodist Church. It's big. It's big. Built in 1890, I believe, and it's they're ecstatic. They're ecstatic about, we're going to do this just like that, and that is scheduled, and that'll be on the Dinner with the Ghost Facebook. We're going to be doing some traveling. Virginia, of course, Pennsylvania, and we have a couple more local here, Galax. We came across that because a friend of mine took a house there, a big house, they should call it a mansion, of the originator, the guy that found Galax. He had a big home. His last name is Wall. And I was over there the other day just scouting it out. To be able to do one, and you're one of the first, is an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
You're opening the door to all this, what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is very cool. Civil War Hospital in Ashbury, near the tavern town. And that's incredible. But we have a whole lineup that I'm working on quickly for this year.
That's great. I'm happy. I was just gonna say, I'm happy to hear that that's going well. I do need to get another break in here.
Do it.
I will, as it happens. When we're going to come back, I want to talk about some other Civil War stuff, if I may. Don't forget to go to Facebook, Dinner with a Ghost. You will not be disappointed. Put your questions in the comments. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Okay, quick question. What do UFOs, breathwork, and psychedelics have in common? Find out at the Midwest First of Its Kind Consciousness Experience, the Contact Modalities Expo, back for year 2, May 1st through 3rd in Wisconsin. This is not a lecture, it's an experience. 4 stages, all happening at once, world-class experts, hands-on, mind-expanding sessions all weekend long. Hosted by Jimmy Church, UFO Skywatches with Chris Bledsoe, telepathy, quantum hypnosis, ancient mysteries. Try telekinesis, use dowsing rods, experience the God helmet, even a live seance. But there is so much more. Curious? Perfect. Already deep in it? Even better. Go beyond the limits of what you thought was possible. The Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through 3rd. Get the details now at contactmodalitiesxpo.com. Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakken here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Greg Bakken here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursions to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken. We are going to have with us psychic medium Debbie Romero. She is going to be doing one question readings tomorrow. So get your questions together. Make sure that you want to ask a question. We're not going too deep into stuff. That's what readings are for. But if you have a question about love or your job or finances or something like that, put those together. Adam will be in tomorrow. We can take phone calls. You can also put them in the comments. We're really looking forward to that. So that's Debbie Romero tomorrow doing one question readings. Tonight I have with me, I have John B. Cushman, who is such a wonderful resource for Civil War everything. Now, John, I have a question in the comments.
Sure.
Would love to have you weigh in on it. Chuck asks, what keeps Civil War time spirits holding on to their battlefield?
I believe, with the amount that have been killed there, I've always asked, do they realize they're dead? Because, you're talking about boys from 16 to late 50s. When you're taking a charge, let's say Pickett, and more than half of your men are gone. You're walking right straight into the cannons. You're walking into that wall lined with cannons, and it takes your life just like that. I believe that it's so traumatic. It's not one boy. It's 50,000 plus boys are walking around that battlefield, and they really don't know what's going on. I mean, are they trying to? Do they think the war's over? Do they think this? Do that? What about their families?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was traumatic enough to make a statement to them. You have to imagine it. Yes, it's nice looking. It's all cleaned up and this and that. But if you sit on, and I know, Greg, you were there, sit on that wall and look out towards Confederate Avenue, which is, where the Union was.
Yeah.
And wonder. It's not that far of a run, probably less than a mile to the wall.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, that they fought that way at taking lives. And you know what? 99% of those boys would do it again.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You weren't home playing, a game machine or anything. You were in a battle because you believed in what you were doing.
Yeah.
Whether it was north or south, you believed in it. When you have Robert E. Lee turning down a position for the Union, saying he would not go against his country, that's how those boys felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't going to go against, Virginia and the boys from all these other states. People thought it was over slavery. No, it was about states' rights. Yes, slavery was in there somehow, but it was about states' rights. And these boys came to fight. Both sides came to fight.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I had a question for you also. I was thinking about this, as we're driving around the battlefields, one of the most beautiful, I hate to say it, it's just one of the most beautiful places around, quite honestly. Yes. You said it took 2 years to clean up. Do you still think that there's any, and it doesn't have to, I don't mean like body parts or anything, but even just like any sort of ephemera of anything from that era still in there. You know, there's some areas that really drop off. You know, there's just, I mean, it just seems like that to me, it seems like there'd still be some remnants of stuff from that time still kind of in there somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you this. 2 years ago, they had trouble. As you enter Gettysburg, depends what direction you're coming in. One of the overpasses collapsed on one side,
Mm.
and all these bodies were falling out of the dirt.
Oh,
They had to get the college involved. Of course, the coroners people and everybody else. Yeah. Do I think there's bodies still buried? Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, the Confederates, the South,
Mm-hmm.
would not be buried. They would never be buried in the North, in enemy
Sure.
territory.
Sure. Nope.
So contractors were hired at 25 cents a body to go get them. And if they were fortunate enough to, before they went into battle, they put a note in their pockets to say who they were and where they were from, that type of thing. They didn't have dog tags back then. Maybe a final letter, whatever. So they'd go in and get the bodies.
25 cents. 25 cents seems actually like quite a lot, doesn't it? Actually,
yes, it was
in 1860.
It phenomenal. Yes, it took 2 years. Now you can picture what summers were like.
Oh.
Smell,
mm-hmm.
work, but they, as you see, they cleaned it up. But do I think there's still bodies there, Greg? Absolutely. And they find stuff. Don't get caught there with a metal detector.
No.
That's a no-no.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just
you
gonna
go.
No, you go. No, I was just gonna say that I mean, and I've mentioned this on the show before, I will never forget, because we were there, in the middle of the night. Yeah, we were there in the middle of the night. Somebody who I'm on the phone with right now had told some people to take me out there, and I'm so glad that you did, John. But the thing is when after it was raining a little bit, but I've never experienced anything so serene than, from the clouds. There's like a little bit of a brightness, and at 2:30 in the morning, and all the silhouettes of all the trees and stuff. And it was just very calm in a very eerie sort of way, but it was incredible.
Not that you're supposed to go out at night.
Right.
I don't know who would have told you.
No one's here to tell me to break the law, right? I mean, come on.
Right. Exactly. But the things you learn.
Yeah.
I mean, when you could talk, outwardly to somebody that was almost 200 years old, in history, that's incredible.
Yes, it is.
It makes you wonder and question, like your last guy that wanted some information. You never stop wondering.
No.
And you never stop wondering what it was like. Were they tripping over each other or this or that? Incredible. And you were at Hare Ridge, and that's where it all started.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, one of the best nights I've ever had talking with Spirit was there. Mean, it just, I mean, and I've said this on the program many times, but you have to experience it really. Another thing that I absolutely fell in love with, and I went down a rabbit hole of trying to understand more of like the history behind all of them, is all the monuments in the battlefield. Just so amazing. And they range from not too long after the battle to not too terribly long ago, to be honest.
That's right. The states sponsor it.
Yes.
Whether you're south or north, they did the monuments. And when everybody was warned about, taking down monuments and this and that. Gettysburg warned these type of people, don't do it here. We don't take that.
No.
It's a shame they're pulling out statues here and there because, it was Americans fighting Americans.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one president arguing with another president. And that's what it comes down to. That's what wars are about.
And we're celebrating celebrating is not the right word, remembering the troops who gave all for, like what you said, what they believed in.
Right. And, Greg, you're right. It like I said, it came down to nobody could agree. And 650,000 men at the end of the war. You got to imagine what could have been different in America at that time.
Yeah.
Different inventions, different this. We would have been farther along. Who knows?
Yeah.
But like I said, it was Americans fighting Americans, doing what they believed in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you couldn't change their mind. Son, you're only 16. But I am going to go fight, Papa.
Yeah.
I am going to sign up downtown and go.
Yeah. I may never see you again.
That's, what? That's the sad part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they produce this, mainly at the beginning of the war, the death sheets and stuff. And it just, they don't knock at your door. It's on a sheet in the middle of town. You go down there and you pull one down and you look at it, see if your sons or your husband is on it.
Now, unfortunately, we're at the end of the show. We got to get you back, and we got to, because this is important stuff to remember and talk about. Once again, John B. Cushman, Dinner with a Ghost. Go to Facebook, Dinner with a Ghost, find it, and if you can, go check it out. Right, John?
Absolutely.
John, thank you so very much. Appreciate it, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you very much, folks. We have Debbie Romero tomorrow. Have a good night.